Throughout our board game, students are able to identify their strengths and weaknesses when it comes to the idea of language. While English is the main speaking language in Australia, some individuals come from backgrounds other than English. This game therefore enables students to explore different languages that may be present within the classroom. Within some classes, there may be groups of students who speak a particular language, and this allows them to hold control and power within the game if the questions are asked in the language that they speak in. In this case, those who do not speak the same language become alienated and feel disadvantaged than those who do speak the same language. This game is set up in many ways and can be adapted to all TLAs simply by adjusting the questions based on the class topics. Through the Marxism theory, Karl explores the idea of power within linguistics. Through language, those who obtain knowledge in languages other than English hold power as they hold an advantage in other countries that they speak in other languages. Not only does the game bring power to multi-speaking individuals, but also teaches that certain language to other students in the classroom. While they play the game, students who don't speak that language will be able to learn and pick up specific words as there are pictures with a word on it, and then other students that don't speak that language are also getting an advantage because they can pick up words and start to learn a new language. Through the game, students also learn the discourse of language within school systems, and those who do not speak English as their first language will fall back in the game if the questions are in English. But if the game has questions in other languages and they happen to speak that language, then those students that don't speak English as their first language will excel more than others that speak only English, because the questions are randomly picked and there is questions in many different languages. Therefore, it is important for teachers to gain knowledge of students' backgrounds and base languages in accordance to that. So here the teacher should find out what languages her class speaks and try and put a lot of questions that they do and don't speak, and then also add a few that no one speaks. The game also allows students to understand that language is important in human socialization and how they can gain and pass knowledge of the world through language. Not only does language pass on information, but helps understand one's culture, and throughout the board game, this can be learned while also bringing people together. Will Smith says that ignoring languages learners bring to school is ignoring their prior knowledge and experience in literacy simply because they are not English. This is as just because they don't speak English, it does not mean they don't have any literacy skills in other languages, and they can use that to excel in English, as sometimes when you already know another language, it is easier to adapt to a new one. The playing movements in the board game portray how an individual's knowledge in other languages and cultures can allow them to advance in other countries. As noticed, our board game has planes, and if you land on a question that has a plane following it, then if you get the question right, then you can also advance and move a couple spots down to your new location. So what this portrays is that if you speak another language, when you're going and traveling overseas, you hold more advantage because you are able to speak to individuals of the same language. Whether if you get the question wrong, that also signifies is that you may not be able to speak another language. So when traveling overseas, you may be a little bit more disadvantaged as you can't speak to other people, ask for directions, or whatever it is that you need at the time. Through their knowledge, they are able to travel and use that knowledge to speak to people of other languages. This is why the board game, if the students answer the question correct, then they are able to excel, as I mentioned. So I hope that you learned a lot about our game and how language is a discourse in our school systems, and people are feeling alienated due to speaking another language. But through our board game, we're bringing people with the same language speaking together, but at the same time we're teaching other individuals, other students, of how language is an important aspect of one's life, and just because they're from another background, it does not mean that they can't excel. Thank you.